Psychiatric professors and practitioners always associate a certain chemical reason behind every mental illness. They push forth the idea that behind every mental illness is a precursor of various chemicals in the brain acting erratically. The truth is, they push that narrative so that people can continue to purchase psychiatric drugs. Mental illness was never a chemical problem, but always has been a spiritual problem. They say it is superstition to believe that mental illness is caused by demonic possession. However, it's not superstitious at all. Demonic possession happens all the time. And just because you don't see the devil, it doesn't mean he's not there. If the elites use the powers of the devil to gain material wealth in exchange for their spiritual wealth, then this is no fairy tale. There are numerous stories and cases of celebrities who have made pacts with Satan to gain material wealth. However, demonic possession happens regardless of whether you made a pact with Satan or not. The only difference between a person who made this pact and a person who didn't is that the former made a vow to Satan that he will only follow him and never follow God until death. However, even if you haven't made a pact or vow with Satan, that doesn't change the fact that he can possess you for a long period of time, until you end up with a mental illness due to the voices that pop up in your head. Those voices of OCD and schizophrenia, for example, don't come by coincidence or by your brain itself, it's an outside force. If it's something you feel is out of your control, and you yourself don't understand where it's coming from, then it clearly isn't coming from your own thought processes. The reason psychiatrists say that demonic possession is superstitious is so that you can solely rely on the scientific explanation for mental illness and so that you would feel that the only way to be relieved from the illness is to purchase their psychiatric drugs. Psychiatry is a business based on putting you in a state of shame and guilt by labeling you, so that you would be driven to purchase drugs which simply don't help you, but actually increase your risk for death and suicide, in accordance to many, many studies. The only superstitious thing you can say is that a pill or group of pills, which alter the chemistry of your brain in a dangerous way when your brain chemistry is already working exactly the way it's supposed to, can heal or be an antidote to something which is strictly spiritual in nature. It's absolutely insane that psychiatry has disconnected the term spiritual from sorrow. The only spiritual thing that psychiatry and psychology promote is meditation, but they only promote it as a side thing, and only advocate meditation when you have already taken your psychiatric drugs. One can spend his entire life searching for the right medication at exactly the right dose, go in and out of hospitals, go to group therapy sessions, visit his psychiatrist an endless number of times, but in the end find out that he wasn't gaining any true benefit. It's all a scam. Science has the ability to solve lots of things, but cannot and never will be able to solve a spiritual issue. That really is God's job. The only way really to alleviate the symptoms of your mental illness is to get closer to God through prayer. Mental illness treatment and healing is where science will always fail miserably. There will be absolutely no benefit for the treatment of your mental illness through psychiatry. If you find this hard to believe, then you will waste more and more time trapped in the maze of psychiatry. The root of all mental illness is a spiritual emptiness you feel inside of you. This emptiness simply cannot be filled by any form of science. Things like proper nutrition, supplements and even exercise will help you a lot in boosting your mood, but all of these things still have absolutely nothing to do with this spiritual emptiness. This spiritual emptiness is where the seeds of your mental illness nest and grow into something which is seriously disrupting your life. The only way to fill this spiritual emptiness with beneficial energy to drag out the negative, in other words, take out the darkness with light, is with devotion to God through prayer. You can deny this for as long as you want, but in the end when things really get out of hand, you will find it to be true, and that only God can help you. The concept and processes of demonic possession and black magic has existed and spoken about extensively for millennia, so it would be highly unwise to assume that just with our advances in technology and science that we can escape such truths. We may have evolution of thought with the gaining of knowledge through the years, but the truths and realities which preceded our current knowledge will never change. We can't change the truths about this world just because we don't want it to be true or deny it to be true. All of this obsession with science is merely a distraction and diversion from the metaphysical nature in this world so that you wouldn't have enough spiritual energy to go against corrupt establishments. So a very good advice would be that you get closer and closer to God through constant prayer, and with time, you will surely and definitely see your mental illness reside, regardless of what that mental illness is. Walk one step to God, and He will run 1,000 miles to you. Don't give in to the shame and guilt game of psychiatry. You don't need psychiatric drugs. The chemistry of your brain is working exactly the way it's supposed to be working. It's just who you are. Don't let them tell you that you're biologically inferior to everyone else just to be dependent on their drugs. Get light from God, as much light as you can, and watch it shun out the darkness within you.